Alright, let me just check the stream real quick. Nope, we're good. No robot. Cool. Alright. We're live. Well, I'm going to mute that because it's going to get annoying. So, welcome to this little, I guess, pre-stream, if you want to call it. Before Viewer's Choice. So I couldn't quite finish this last night. I didn't have enough time. So I decided to kind of try to wrap it up today, or at least get as much of it done today. So my goal in this project is to make an improved and specialized analog stick for the SN30 Pro and Pro Plus models right here. I already modded the caps, but they're old, and it's kind of a crappy mod, just gluing on crappy rubber grips to them. Instead, I want to make something more dedicated and that supports more accessories. Like, for example, the ones from Control Freak, for example. Like these. So the goal is to basically make an analog stick that supports more Switch-based accessories and that also has some customizable aspects to it. So I did a little bit of work last night after stream, just a tiny bit. I kind of cleaned up on the model, did a little bit of work there. I also separated this bit here, and I'm going to explain why I did that. I'm going to rotate this real quick. Yep, okay. That looks good. So let me just real quick, before I continue too much here, I got to make sure the measurements here are accurate. I got the shape about right, but now I'm going to real quick make sure that the measurements are 100% accurate. As for a project like this, I have to make sure the measurements are 100% accurate. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select this ring, and right on the bottom here, and I'm just going to hit, I think it's Shift H. That hides everything else that is not selected. So it keeps the only selected visible. Go to that ring. What I'm going to do is, from a bottom perspective, I'm going to take my measurement tool, like this, and I'm going to snap it. I'm going to hide that. Can I snap it to this right here? I feel like this used to work differently. I feel like it used to snap better, like right onto the point. I feel like it doesn't do that as well anymore. What's that? Well, that says it's about 2.39 centimeters. Real quick, I need to figure out how to, like, measure the actual vertices, or the little points. Which, by the way, in case you're wondering, that a point or a vertice, a vertice, I don't know how to say it, but it's one of these. I call them points. It's a lot easier to say. I'm gonna look this up real quick. I think it might automatically do it, more or less, but I'm not really sure. Let me try something. I just want to make sure that this measurement is 100% accurate, is if I get this wrong, it could be a little trickier later. Okay, so that's the actual size. It's about 2.4. It's definitely 2.4 centimeters, but it's about 100. It's like 0.0141 off for some reason. That's not good. That really should be exact. I want it to be. It's probably OCDing, but that really should be exactly 2.4 centimeters wide. And it needs to be exact. So I'm just going to make a little adjustment to that. Did I add an edge here, by the way? I think I did. I'm going to undo that edge. Yeah. Okay. I think it does automatically snap right to the point, so that's good. So now what I got to do, I guess, is just downsize this. Scaling doesn't seem to be using units, though. So I have an idea. That's a little unfortunate, so I have an idea. I have an idea to get around that. I'm going to create a duplicate of this. Separate it. So you can see it's its own object here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take that. I'm just going to take that second object. Actually, you know what? Better idea. I have a better idea, actually. It's going to be a little bit simpler. I'm just going to bring the cursor to the world origin. I'm going to make a new mesh. I'm going to call it I'm just going to make a circle. It's pretty big right now. I'm going to make it 2.4 centimeters long. Okay, that's radius. So I make it 1.2 centimeters, and that is... So that's a radius. Okay, so it's not doing it by... It doesn't measure in diameter, it measures in radius. So that's good to know. So if I make it 1.2 in meters in radius, or centimeters in radius, that's going to make it 2.4 centimeters in diameter. I measured this in a circle and circular parts in diameter rather than anything else. Alright, let me just gonna get rid of this ruler. I don't know why it's here. Just get rid of it. Measure this point. Here. I'm going to hold control so it snaps. And that is exactly 2.4 centimeters. Which is more along the lines of what I want. But we have this object, which is not quite as accurate. Now, it was about... What was the measurement here? It's just a little too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom real close. I'm going to scale this whole thing. I guess I scale it up. I guess. Actually, I gotta correct something first, though. Then I'll scale it. The only issue, I think I need to exclude the z-axis from scaling. Because otherwise it's gonna make it taller. Let me check my reference guide as well. Make sure it doesn't stay the same. Yep, that's good. Okay. That's a good sign. Let me just check my work here. So we have that extra circle. I'm just going to hide that for now. I'll select that circle on the very bottom again. You just hide it. Or hide everything else. So I have my previous measurements, which I can actually use as a reference guide now. I wish the scaling tool did support centimeters, because that would make it a lot easier to adjust this. Maybe it does, and I just don't know how to use it correctly, but it doesn't really matter too much. Well, now it's too big. Oh, I see. I think it needs to be smaller, right? The problem is it's making me kind of guess. It's almost making me guess, I feel like. I guess we don't have to get super precise with it. Just as long as it's close to the margins. I am a bit confused, though. Because I don't know why it's saying it's like a different thing going on. Well, that says it's 0.2406. Why does it say that? Let me check something real quick. I wonder if the measuring tool is doing something weird here. Because it's like subdivided. Let me go ahead and just turn... Is it basing it on the non-subdivided version? Is that what's happening? I don't know why on earth it would be inaccurate, considering I feel like I did a lot to make sure it was just the right size. Okay. And with the subdivision? Alright, well, it seems to be independent from each other, which is good, in a way. But it's not going to let me very well do this too easily. It's not really letting me have the accurate measurements, though. I don't really want to, like, guesswork this, but I don't really know what else to do. It's not giving me many... It doesn't, unfortunately, let me scale it in centimeters, so I don't know. It's making me just basically guess what the measurements are supposed to be. Which makes this very hard to guess. I mean, to tell what it's supposed to be in centimeters. Now it's too small. And what does it say? Okay. Let me test something real quick. Let me try something. I have an exact integer I'd like to try. Let's see if that fixes it. I want to see. Does it actually secretly use centimeters? Or is it using its own measurement system for scaling? Get rid of this. Let's find out. Well, that made it too big. Now it's 2.41 centimeters. It's too big. Ooh, it is just not. This is not going to be a fun process, is it? I don't get why scaling doesn't show centimeters. It's showing like its own measurement system, which is not very helpful. Unfortunately, I think it's working in Blender units, which is not doing me any favors, because I can't tell where it's supposed to be. And also, it seems it's not snapping. Oh, that's strange. It's not snapping directly to the vertices. It's just kind of going on its own. That's a little weird. That is very strange behavior. Very strange behavior. I want to reopen this. I'm just going to not save, and I'm just going to reopen this and try again. It's doing some weird stuff. I will say that. It's being weird. Like, I thought the measuring tool was just supposed to snap to the vertice. It doesn't seem like it's actually doing that at, like, a close scale. When I zoom this in, it's not all the way where it's supposed to go. Dang it. That's really more where it should be. Weird. Just weird. That's really where it should be. But now it's saying it's, according to this, it's 0.2392 short. Okay. It's like 0.00. It's like 0.012 short, so I gotta fix that. Okay, so I know how to fix it. It's about +1. Okay. I think the measurement I'm looking for here is something like this. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna experiment around, see if we can get a more accurate measurement. I'm gonna have to undo that because I didn't do it to everything. I only did it to the one circle. But I think I can use that to maybe fix it. Get rid of this nonsense. This isn't going to be accurate until I zoom in at a more smaller level here. This doesn't have to be, I guess, 100% perfect, but it needs to be fairly accurate. Okay, now it says, now it's too big. Okay. Now it's just outright too big. I don't know how I feel with the measuring tool. I feel like it used to work in old versions of Blender. I feel like the measuring tool was way, way easier to use. Now I feel like it's really hard to use now. Like, that's what I don't get. Is that this used to feel so smooth to use, and now it just feels all clunky. Okay, so what I see what's happening now. So it's relative. It's relative. So the scaling is relative based on the model itself. So what I have to do is figure out, I guess, a multiplier. I actually have a tool for this, my tool belt. That's a very, very specific number, which I'm going to have to write down. I actually made a tool, I wrote a tool a while back, using, like, command line stuff. That could calculate this sort of stuff. It's a very it generated a very specific number that I have to use as a multiplier. So I'm going to scale this. Doesn't really matter how I do it for now. That is what it said. I don't know if it's the right. If I picked the right number from that list. You couldn't see it because it was off screen, but it did give me a number to enter. That would theoretically make that the right size. So we'll see how that works. That actually seemed to be fairly accurate, but let's scale this measurement to where it's supposed to go. That was more or less accurate, actually. Yeah, that was more or less accurate. That's actually about where it's supposed to be. I'm going to undo that scaling because I only did one little bit. I only affected the one ring. I need to scale everything here on this little dome to that same amount. I'm not going to do a super accurate number. I'm just going to use part of the number this time. I don't know what it's doing. I think my copy-paste wasn't good. That's probably what it was. Yep, that's exactly what it was. It was a bad copy-paste. It's very hard to tell that I actually changed anything. But I did. I gotta make sure all this sort of stuff is figured out now, because if... Whoa. Okay, it made multiple measurements. But if it's wrong now, it's gonna really, really hurt stuff later. I don't want that. Okay, it's literally so close to the number I want. I could probably... I'm going to OCD over this anyway. I probably don't have to. Because honestly, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to what it's supposed to be. It's like literally 0.00001 off. That is like really close to what it's supposed to be, but I'm going to try to see if I can make that a little more accurate. Okay. I gotta write that down. I'm gonna keep the z-axis the same. Whoops. Oh, right. It works differently. It works differently when I'm scaling downwards. Okay. In that case, I gotta do a little bit of math here. 1 minus this much. Alright, I don't know what's happening with this. It's not wanting to do my actual number. Just gave me a number to enter. I don't even know if it visibly is going to make a difference at all. But it might maybe affect something. Like I said, I got to make sure I have this measurements done very, very... Okay, it did make a small difference. That's actually... I feel like that's actually worse. Maybe this is a janky measurement tool. I feel like this measurement tool might be a little janky, too. But you know what? I'd say that is probably close enough. Then, if it's gonna, like, be that picky, I don't want to, like, mess with it too long, because I want to really move on to the actual rest of the stick design. I don't really want to, like, just end it here. Because it's very close to where it's supposed to be. Yep, I'm going to save that because I think I like that. I know I could probably try my hardest to make that as accurate as I could, but I don't know if it's worth it. I'll try like one more thing maybe. But it's going to be hard to get that math just right. I'll try one more thing. Where's the calculator? Something went wrong with something happened with my programs off screen. It went like my math was all wrong. Good. Okay. That's where it theoretically should be. Let's see if that's right, though. Unless my math was wrong, which knowing me, it probably is. It should be exact. This measurement tool is very jank. Very janky. Yeah, I think my math must be off, because it's definitely not calculating that. Okay. Yeah, my math was wrong. I looked at the wrong number. Okay. It's a very hard number to read, by the way. It's an extremely hard number to read on my end. In fact, you're about to see it in a second here. Like, I'll show you the number it output. My little thing output, and it's this. It's a very long number. But according to that will make it exactly... Potentially, that should make it exactly 2.4 centimeters long. Like, down to the number. I just gotta, like, clean that measurement up a little bit. It's a little bit janky. It went out a little bit more than it should. And that is exactly 2.4 centimeters long. Perfect. Good. I had to, like, lift this up or something a little bit, because it's not quite on the grid. It should be, like, flat on the grid there. Alright, looks good. I'm going to save that. That's good progress. Now, I gotta make sure I do a little bit more work to it. I need to solidify this. I'm gonna see if I can do it now or if I have to do it later. If I need to add a solidify modifier, I'm gonna put that above that one. It looks a little awkward at the moment. You can see that. That is not how that's supposed to look. So I think what I need to do is make it mode complex. thickness should be 0.1. I believe it's 0.1 centimeters. I'm going to check my measurement here on the stick itself. Yep, that is about... It's good to actually reference the source object here. Yep, that's about 0.1 centimeters. So the thickness should go inward, likely. Let me put the... Where's the bottom reference? I need to resize the bottom reference first, actually. That's too big. The reference is too big. So let me scale that. Wait, which one is it adjusting? Alright, buddy, you're a little bit off there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'll have to, like, center that. Likely. That's probably going to be wrong. I'll figure that out a little later, I think. I'll have to adjust, like, the offsets. Actually, I probably could do that now, actually. I gotta make sure this is a reference, so I gotta make sure this is correct. Too much. It's about right. Sort of. I'm ignoring the white. I'm ignoring the white. I'm focusing only on the blue. I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna work. I think something's a little off, but I'll have to figure that out as I go. For now, I'm just gonna move on and focus on solidifying this. So, this should be exactly... Yep, it's going inward, that's good. It needs to be 0.1 centimeters thick. It should actually look something similar to this. Now, for my next tweak, I need to make some adjustments before I even solidify it or anything. I'm going to start working on the cap insert. So I have this dimension right here. I need to make sure that is exactly where that is supposed to go. I'm going to scale that a bit. Excluding the z-axis. I want to figure out exactly where I want this. I'm just going to delete these rings real quick. I'll make a new one. And now, I believe I have a slot for my insert to go into. Just gotta scale it down. And this part, I don't think it has to be any specific measurement. That can just be whatever I want. I do want it to be like an even number so that someone can easily work with this. You know what? Let's make this exactly like this insert. Let's make this exactly 0.5 centimeters long. Okay, I got my modifier results. So now I gotta enter that into a calculator. Or just I have to write it down basically. Unfortunately I can't copy paste it from my little command line thing here. Like it's just the way it works. Actually, no, let me show that off real quick how that works. So you can't see it. I've been talking about it, but you don't know what it means. It's going to be hard to see a little bit, because it's probably going to be a little low def. But I have a percentage calculator I created using command line stuff. So what I do, here's how I calculate changes like this. Since scaling in Blender is relative. Hey, what's up, Papa Bravo? So obviously I want this to be 0.5 centimeters long, but you can see. But scaling in Blender does not use measurements. It's relative to the object. So what I do to calculate this is I first enter the value here, 0.442278, for example, and I want it to be 0.5 in size. So it gives me a multiplier right here. You don't have to worry about this. This is just for percentage stuff, but I'm not using that. I'm using this right here. So I already entered that number in my calculator. Not that one. This one, yes. So that tells me and now this is where the magic happens. Now all I got to do is enter that value when I hit scale. Excluding the z-axis, I don't want to mess with that. Hat, are you doing? Well, I don't have a hat, but I can tell you I'm doing pretty good actually right now. There we go. And that sized it exactly the way it should. Yep. Now that measuring thing likes to be a little bit off sometimes. For example, yeah, you can see it's a little off right there. It likes to extend itself. It likes to extend a little bit beyond the point. I don't know why it does that. And that is exactly, now because of that maths, that is exactly 0.5 centimeters long and wide in every axis. So that's good. Okay. Guess I gotta go to the main model here, and what I need to do is scale this part out a bit. This doesn't have to be exact right here. But this does have the peripheral here, just to make it compatible with other... for Valentine's Day? Yeah, I'd say so. Looks pretty good. Okay. I would say that is good. The only issue is this needs to be also a specific size. Here, it's too tall. I think that's going to be too hard to... Chocolate V-Bucks? Oh, that'd be hilarious. It's if you have like a 3D, this is not even a joke. You could probably do that. If you have a 3D printer, you could probably make chocolate V-Bucks. Like, not even exaggerating. Like, you can literally there's somewhere you can 3D print chocolate, and it's hilarious. But I'm sure some mad lad out there could actually do it. Okay, so let's see. Let me real quick. So I measured the bottom of this and the diameters here. It's 0.5 centimeters in diameter. So let's take a look at its height real quick. Oh, chocolate and V-Bucks. Okay. So you see, my stupid rear decided to think that you were talking about making chocolate V-Bucks. Because, you know, that makes sense for some reason. I can't see this, so I'm gonna hide this. Because I can't see my measurements. That is about where it's supposed to be. Let's go to the top one. The measuring tool is a little janky. It likes to go sometimes a little too far off the thing. Okay, so that is exactly 0.63 centimeters. That's not quite where I want it. Time for scaling. I'm going to just get this out of the way. Yeah. There we go. Now I can see it on my screen. It's 32756. Gonna enter that value. Let's make that a quarter centimeter. Let's make that like 0.25 centimeters. So now I have a value I have to enter. Just for the height alone. 0.395097. That's a lot of numbers. I don't know if I have to actually copy all these numbers. I'm going to just be accurate. Right. I just gotta select. Actually, what I'm gonna do, so it's accurate. Here, I'm gonna like just hit scale, and I'm gonna exclude X and Y. So it'll, well, it should anyway. Let's set that to 1 and set Y to 1. And now I just have to affect only the Z, and I enter that value I talked about. And there we go. Use most of it. And that's it. And now it should be the right size. Let me check that real quick. Feels good actually getting back into the 3D modeling scene. I haven't tried this since for a long time. That's definitely not accurate. Yeah, I think the measuring tool overlapped a little too much. I'm not sure why it's 0.5 though. It's about. I actually want it about that, but it's not quite what I had in mind. I must have done the math wrong. Try that again. I think I might have done the math just a little wrong there. I must have input a number wrong or something. My little calculator tool. I bet that's what happened. I must have like mistyped. Thank God I'm not a rocket scientist or something, because that could be that could be bad. Thank God this is a expendable 3D printing object, so I can't. Measuring tool, could you please? Thank you. Okay. I guess scale this, excluding X and Y. I can only do one, so I'm just going to do that. That should scale it down to about where it should be, I think. Oh, I may have to change the math if it doesn't work. Get rid of this. Undo that. real quick. I want to see what it did. Okay, hold on. I think it's like doing something weird. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select this only. I'm going to hide everything else. Now I only have these two. I want it to straight line up, right? Okay. Now if I take a look at this, I'm just doing this temporarily just to kind of test the math real quick. Strange. It's giving me a completely different value now. How am I getting a completely different value from this? What? What the heck? What was it I beg your pardon? What was it measuring? Oh, okay. So I think I know what happened here. I know what happened. It wasn't measuring these two. It wasn't measuring this little line right here. It was measuring this and between the distance between this and this. And that's not what I want. So that's why the math isn't working. It's not the math. I just didn't measure the right object. Okay. So in that case, now I know what's going on with it. So that's no good. That's no good. Alright, now I gotta, like, adjust the math again. So that's... I don't know what I just typed. Okay. Now let me type, I don't know, I'm thinking... What's the number? Okay, so it's 0.153214. This is the boring part, honestly, of the whole thing. This is the more boring part, is all the math stuff and the numbers, and that's not the fun part of the project. That's the boring part of it for a lot of people. I think for me, it's probably where a lot of people are going to drop, just because they aren't going to be very interested in a bunch of just number crunching. And for 3D modeling, I don't always have to be this precise when it comes to the number crunches. But when it comes to a 3D printable object that's made for something very, very specific, I have to be very particular with my math. Because if I get the numbers wrong, it could translate poorly when it comes to the final product. And this is made for a very specific device, so I have to make sure the math is just right. Now let's see if that works, or if it makes it too big. I want that to be about 1/4 centimeter, or 0.25 centimeters. Exactly. And I think what's happening... What's it measuring? Oh, yep, it's measuring the wrong thing again. Okay. Yeah, it's measuring the wrong thing. And it's exactly 1/4 centimeter tall. Great. Now, I think what I need to do... I'm going to do something interesting real quick to get this aligned correctly where it needs to go later. What I'm going to do... I'm just going to bring the cursor to selected. And what I'm going to do for this, since it's its own object, I'm going to make object... set origin to 3D cursor. So what that does is, you can see there's a little tiny... If I move the 3D cursor out of the way, you can see the tiny little orange dot right here, and that basically just means that's the origin of the object. So for example, if I have it set to a bounding box as the thing, what this means is if I rotate it, like for example, like right here, you can see that as I rotate it, it's pivoting from that little orange ball right there. That's the origin. That affects how you scale it. You can see it's scaling based on that spot too. And it rotates, and it also rotates based on that spot as well. It's not why this is important temporarily right now, is because of one reason. It's simply because of this right here. What I need to do is take this, and I need to line it right here. So I'm going to take the 3D cursor, Cursor to selected. And that's going to bring it right about here. What I need to do now pull up here. Something's not right. Something's not right. Let me check something real quick. Just to be safe. That is right. I think I know what's happening. I think the reference image is wrong. Yeah, it's the reference image now. It's the reference image that's wrong now. So I have to adjust that real quick. Because that is a reference I'm still using. But I have to set that to the right size. So let me go fix that. Get out of edit mode to do that. Okay. Make it 2.41 maybe? 2.22? Make it 2.43. Yeah, that's more along the lines of what I wanted. Also, that needs to be... let's say actually right about there is good. Yep. That's about right. Now, I need to make some adjustments real quick to this bad boy. I'm going to unhide everything. You can see, though, there's a little problem. I think what I need to do here, I'm going to turn off the subdivision surface. That's what's happening. Okay, so what's happening here is this is extending too far. That's why it looks weird. It's extending that too far. That needs to be not like that. I'm excluding the Z. I'm going to do that. I think I need to add an edge cut here, like a loop cut. So I'll add one right here. And slide it down by about 0.9. That will change it for the better. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, that's why. Okay. I'm just going to experiment around a little bit with this just to get the shape I want. Because sometimes when working with subdivision surface, and things can change a little bit. I want it to be very flat on the top where the analog stick normally would go. For this prototype anyway. So we should have this nice flat little top here. It's round. It is also completely circular and round. Oops, my phone notifications are on. Okay. That's about right to me. Looks about right. I'm going to save that real quick. There's a very important reason as to why this has to be specifically round. Very specific reasoning for that. Very specific. And why it has to be flat. That's part of the design. Now I gotta do. First, I'm gonna make sure that this right here, this needs to be. I'm gonna bring the cursor to this just to make sure it's in the right spot. Now what I'm gonna do is bring this object to selection to cursor, and that will bring the object right where it needs to be. Now what I need to do is I'm gonna set the object's origin. Or not, I'm going to apply location. I'm also just going to apply all transforms just to make it easy. That will set, I think that resets the origin, but also this is the origin. I'm going to set it to center or to origin to geometry. Center of mass also is fine. No, it doesn't really matter for now. Now what I have to do is I guess I have to start working on the next part. Now I also need to, there's a circular object here. Hold on. What I need to do real quick, I'm going to create a temporary cap to this. Just fill that in temporarily. It's not correctly filled in, but it's just enough where I can see it. So while I'm working the circle, I need to actually zoom that out a little bit. And I want to make sure there's enough room here for that to attach later. Because I'm going to have to have this automatically bridge together later. After some stuff is done. So you'll see that later. I'm going to get rid of this face now. It was just a temporary placeholder. Anyway. Okay. We got actually a majority of this done. Let me check the solidify modifier real quick as well. Honestly, this is coming out very well. Let me just do some quick naming and organizing. I'm also just going to copy paste some backups in case. In case something goes wrong, and so I can roll back without having to go back completely to a different Blender file. That's going to make that a lot easier long term. Now what I'm going to do is start working on the next step, I guess. Actually, let me check something real quick. You know what I wanted to do real quick, just in Blender settings? I wanted to actually make multiple, but every time I save, I wanted to have just a ton of backups. There we go. Now every time I save, it'll have multiple backups. Alright, so the next thing I gotta do is work on the bottom, I guess. Which is gonna be interesting. I don't know which reference I'm gonna use here. But it's definitely not centered. So I think I have some ideas for that. I have an idea for that, of how I'm going to handle that. For now, I'm just going to actually hide these. And I'm just going to model just the bottom part. I'm going to have to probably measure it as well. Get a rough, at least roughly. A hard time seeing it. The lighting's a little awkward up here right now. It's about 0.5 centimeters. Okay. So this circle itself is roughly 0.5 centimeters in diameter. So that gives us a very accurate measurement to go off of. So I'm just going to start. How many points did I add to that stick base? Excluding the solidify for a moment and excluding like this. How many points are there? There used to be. It used to somewhere tell me. It used to tell me how many there were. Blender 2.8 is a little bit different, but there used to be a way I could see how many points there were. I don't know how that works in Blender anymore. I don't know how that works now. It's changed. I don't know how to view that now. It's definitely different now. It's very different. And now I don't know how to. Okay, let me look this up. View. It's view frame selected. Is that what it's called? So that's not it. Hi, Lily. What are you doing? Hi. Hi. Which version of Blender is this for? That was from a while ago, I think. They changed it. I don't know where the count is now. They changed it in 2.8. I don't know where it is now. Like it used to tell me on the bottom corner here, and now I don't know exactly where that is now. Is it a glitch? Maybe I thought I was supposed to see it. Did they move it? I like having a polygon count, and like vertex count, before, but now it's not here, so I don't really know what to do. I don't really know. What am I looking for here? How do I change that setting? Okay, so they locked in 2.9. They locked it behind a setting, I guess. That's weird. They might have removed that, actually. I'm not finding the setting anywhere. I'm looking through. You can't see it. You can't see it on screen. Like, I'm looking on the thing here. They might have removed the bottom little bar there. They either moved it or they got rid of it. I don't know how you get that now. It changed. So much has changed. I'm still getting used to the new versions of Blender, but it's such a big change compared to what I'm used to. I don't think that's the answer I'm looking for. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm missing something. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's how you bring it back. Okay. Oh, I just fingerprinted. Oh man, I just fingerprinted my glasses. I can't. I have a big old smudge. There we go. All right, now I know how to bring that back, though. That's good. I can see there are 64. Okay, there are 64 total vertices. That means it's 64. It's a total of 64. So all I have to do in that case is go where I was modeling before. Just gonna hide this. I'm just gonna add a circle. The size doesn't matter right now, but I'm gonna add a circle with 64. I'm just gonna make it like 1 centimeter for now. I'm just gonna go into edit mode. I'm gonna downscale the circle to approximately where it should be. And now we have a 64 point resolution circle. Okay. easy enough. Here's when things get interesting. I need to, real quick, I'm going to like just add a point. I'm just going to extrude this. I'm actually just going to make a whole, I think what I'm going to do is make a new object. So I'm just going to copy the circle, scale it down a bit. I'm going to separate by selection. No. I have a separate object. I'm going to call this one bottom. I guess I call it bottom slot. For now, see if it works. I think what I'm going to do, well, first, I'm going to make a measurement real quick just to kind of check the accuracy of this. It's very hard to see in the poor lighting. I'm going to say it's about 0.4 centimeters, or at least it should be 0.4 centimeters. This little slot right here. I'm going to just make a guess and say that's what it's supposed to be. So here's what I'm going to do. Obviously, this is not meant to be a circular object. My drawing is a little rough. It's a rough drawing. It's not like going to be great. What I need to do, okay, what I need to do is I think the origin's already good. So what I need to do is make this, I need to add a modifier to this. I need to add a mirror modifier to this. So let's add a mirror. This needs to be, I think, on Y and X axes. There we go. I'm going to bring this up a bit on Y. And what I'm going to do, I think I probably need to also make sure I'm doing this while so that the surface is turned on. Okay, just do X for now. Is it Y and Z maybe it's supposed to be? I don't know what it's supposed to be mirrored on, but for now I'm just going to do Y. For now, I'll just start with very rough polygon looking shape for now. I'll start with like a very rough shape to it. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to make a very rough shape right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the general shape is correct, I think, but there's going to be some issues I think we're going to run into in just a moment. It does smooth well incorrectly, though, which is good, but man, it's going to have some issues long term. We're going to have to work some of those kinks out, I think, though. Weird how adding an x-axis to that, though, makes it weird. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and apply. Let's make that 0.01 for merging. Maybe that'll help with the x-axis issue. It looks about right, except for one issue in particular. It's got the wrong size. Like its sizing is just a little bit off. And that's the peripheral port right there. Good. We're getting there. Now all I have to do is, I think we just apply that and we double check it. I'm going to apply this. We're not going to do the smoothing yet, though. But now what I have to do, first, I'm going to, apply the location real quick. What I need to do now is figure out if this is the right size. Now, I think I did the sideways measurement. I think the sideways measurement is supposed to be, we can get rid of that old measurement now. From this to this. According to this, there's about a quarter. It's an interesting measurement. I think I need to measure the circle as well, though. I'll have to figure this out as I go. Here's the old measurement. Let's check first the circle itself, ignoring that for now. Now, if I zoom in and focus that measurement, this is actually a 0.51. Now, in terms of centimeters, the circle itself, excluding its component for now. So just looking at the circle itself, it's very hard because the lighting is not too good for this. It's roughly 0.5 centimeters. So I need to do some quick maths. Once again, I'm going to have to do a little bit of math. I have a number. There we go. Okay. Have my number. Let's scale the circle down a bit. Based on the z-axis, this is the number it's supposed to be scaled down to. And according to that will make it exact. Whoa. Wrong button. That should make it exactly 5 centimeters wide. Yep, that circle is now exactly 5 centimeters wide. Now, this part is the interesting one here. This is the part I need to really focus on a little bit because we know that the circle itself is now 0.5 centimeters wide. I'm going to say that's roughly 0.4 centimeters. This right here, this object, should be in terms of width. Anyway, I don't know how well this actually, by the way, I don't know how well this actually mirrored itself. I don't think it mirrored very well. I'm being honest here. It mirrored a little awkwardly, I think. So I may have to redo that mirroring. I don't think that worked the way that was supposed to. No, I supposed to. I'm gonna go back and reapply that mirror. I think something went wrong during the mirroring process. Very interesting. Okay. I don't think anything actually went wrong with the mirroring necessarily. I think it might just be me. Now the problem is I got to figure out some measurements here. So I think I did a measurement on this, and this should roughly be 0.4. And let me just double check my work. Things get a little bit boring. Actually, I think that's supposed to be this is supposed to be in width here, about 0.3 centimeters wide. Let's refine that. Not quite right. That's supposed to be a little bit bigger. It's supposed to be 0.3. The hole should be 0.3 centimeters wide. So that needs to be addressed. So to fix that, all I got to do, I probably should check the height as well. That's probably off as well. For now, I'm going to start with width. Gonna do some quick maths again using my little calculator, percentage calculator tool. My multiplier tool. That's gonna give me a specific number. Okay. Excluding the z-axis, which doesn't really matter anyway, because it doesn't really do much. I'm going to copy this specific number. And now in width, this hole should now be, the gap here should be exactly 3 centimeters wide, and that is exactly it. Okay. Now, I just need to check one more thing on the analog stick real quick. I need to check its vertical height to make sure that's correct. And that's going to be a little trickier to fix if that is the case. I would say this top part should roughly be 4 centimeters. Or roughly 0.4 centimeters. I think that's a little off. Might be a little too tall, I think. I can tell by even looking at the drawing, like that looks wrong. I'm gonna do my, fortunately I have a tool for this, so all I gotta do is go to my percentage calculator, or multiplier calculator again. Let me just check my analog stick here. I think that should roughly be Yep, it's about 0.4 centimeters is what it should be, but it's not quite that. It's very close, though. The only issue, though, here is if I scale it down on just the y-axis, here's the problem. Yes, it does fix the size. It will roughly fix the size. The issue, though, is it also kind of my scaling trick won't really work here, as it's gonna squish it in an awkward way, like this, and that's not what I want. So I think the best practice here is maybe just to remirror it again. I have some tricks I'm going to use to try to get this where I want it. Let's see. Well, G actually moves it in centimeters, so we actually have a better idea. Since it's not scaling, scaling works is relative, but moving things is not relative. In fact, it's far from it. So I'm going to quickly write down that value. Minus the one I want. Divided by 2. And now I know what to do. It's actually very easy to do now. With precision, all I have to do is move each one on the y-axis exclusively by minus this much. And that's it. And that's it. That should be the right size now. It looks a little off in the drawing, but the drawing's not accurate. I redid the measurements. Getting this picture of this was very hard, and then drawing it might have lost some accuracy. So I'm relying more on measurements more than I am the drawings themselves. As the drawings themselves don't always mean they're going to be completely accurate. Let me just check that real quick. Ignoring the old measurement, that was old. And that is exactly 0.4 centimeters. And this is 0.3 centimeters. I guess the big circle here should also be a certain amount. It should be about 0.5 centimeters, and that is correct. With roughly 0.1 in between, I guess like 0.505 in between this. Yep. Now, the only issue right now is I have to not only get these objects together, I have to put, I'm actually first, I'm going to I think I need to subdivide. I may have to subdivide this. I'm not really sure though. Let me see if it's necessary. It might not be necessary to subdivide this. No, I don't think we have to. Now what I need to do though is get this object here. So what I'm going to do is set the origin. I think the origin is already set for this one, but I need to do that for this one. What I'm going to do is I'm select this, bring the cursor, the 3D cursor, right to this circle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this object. First, I'm going to apply any transforms just to be safe. Actually, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that, actually. Never mind. But what I need to do is bring this object to the cursor. And now, what that just did is just moved it. It didn't resize it or anything, did it? No. Just make sure it doesn't like resize. No. Okay, I'm going to hide the drawing. The drawing is no longer helpful. It doesn't look like it's quite centered, though. I think that's actually centered now. Look at it. Okay, that's good. Now what I have to do is make sure this is going to work. So I think there's a lot of points to work with here. So what I'm going to have to do now is join these objects together. Now what I need to do is I need to bridge these loops together using, I'm going to back this, I'm going to save this first before doing this. I'm going to hit bridge edge loops. And I'm going to do, well, I don't think this matters here. We can increase the number of cuts though. Just making the geometry a little more forgiving. I don't think anything else really needs to be adjusted. As you can see, the bridge edge loops is automatically trying to do its best to create geometry. It's not perfect. But that's not perfect, but that does work. Let me smooth shade that. Yeah. Whoa. Hold up. Hold up. separate these for a hot moment, because what happened here? Why is this all the way up here? Okay, that's wrong. That's very wrong. Okay, I think the origin was wrong for some reason. That should have been down here. That was strange. Seeing selection cursor, make sure it's right in the center. Okay, that was weird. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to join these together now. I'm going to bridge the loops. Just be safe, I'll add an extra cut. Whoa. Okay. Well, that's acting a little... Maybe don't... Okay, do linear. Yeah, do linear. This can even be dissolved later if we don't want it, but I want to keep it in there for now. There we go. And by the way, this can be, I believe, this can be smoothed out later. So we can use the subdivision surface modifier, and that will smooth that out nicely. Like so. Which is important for our next step. Now I gotta unhide the base of the stick. This is where things get a little bit interesting. Now I have to attach this, I guess, and eventually attach this part to the stick itself. So what I'm going to do, should I apply this before or after? I would say before. Those things are tricky. I guess we have to subdivide them separately, I guess. And here's where things get interesting, though. This object actually has to be a little bit bigger. I guess hide the stick for a moment. I'm going to have to work on that later. I'm going to have to extrude this up by a certain amount. Now, according to my measurements, the analog stick is 0.5 centimeters deep. So what I need to do is extrude this upwards by 0.5 centimeters. Like this. And then what I need to do is I need to, I guess, take this loop, and I need to fill that in on the top here. On the top, I need to like fill this in. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I have to fill this in. Actually, I don't even know if we have to do this. Hold on. I think actually we have to because of the way the shape is. I can theoretically extrude this downwards. On just the top layer. I'll do the grid fill for now. And I can get rid of this later if needed. That's theoretically what this is going to look like. And that's it. Let me check that with the subdivision surface real quick. Oh no. Oh, it looks bad. Why? Oh no. It looks really bad. Why does it look like that? It looks strange. I don't know why it looks like this. Why does it look like this? I don't remember it looking like that. I mean, that it's supposed to smooth out, yes, but why like this? Why like this? No. Oh, brother. We may have to do some specialty work for this one. Is that's not supposed to look like that. Yeah, it's supposed to look like this. Alright, well that looks like hot garbage. I'm not gonna lie. I think I have an idea how to get around this. I think we just need to do an edge slide. It's a very tight margins, right? So I think I have a solution to the problem. I need to go here, select the loop, and we just need to make that margin as tight as possible. I'm going to add another loop cut. Like right. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. Hold on. I'm going to just get rid of this cut, and we're just going to redo the bridging real quick. Let's do linear, and let's do 2 cuts. Okay, 2 cuts. I might do 3 just to be safe, just we have a lot of loops. And now I'm going to edge slide these as far over as I can, -0.9. And for this one, I'll do something similar. So now if I extrude this upwards, 0.5 centimeters, what should happen is this. Should roughly create a more accurate shape, but I don't know how accurate it's going to be. I don't know if it's actually going to work, because the subdivision surface seems to be having a very hard time with the full object, so I think I'm going to have to just work. I can't really work around it now. So I think what this means is I'm going to have to subdivide it when it's flat, which, although it's going to take more resources, I have to do it like this because it just doesn't want to play nice. So I'm just going to get rid of these loops. I'm going to bridge this together. This is a very basic bridge, just not even anything too complicated here. And then I'm going to subdivide that. That should be good. Okay. So what I would have to do is I have to apply this on its own like this. And then I would have to extrude it like 0.5 and bring it up like 0.5 centimeters. And then I have to select this entire outer loop somehow. And the problem is it doesn't consider it an official edge loop. So this means it's a pain in the neck to actually have to select everything here. So I probably have to just go around and manually select every single thing on the edge, like this. Not exactly what I would say is fun. Not a fun process, but this is the only way in post to do it. I have to do something like this. I was kind of testing this concept right now to make sure it's going to work. Oh my gosh. Okay. Because what I'm going to have to do in the end is bridge this together, or basically I have to make an entirely new, I have to fill this in. So let me hide everything else, make sure I get the right selection. I do. I take this face, and I have to hit grid fill. I can't grid fill. I have to extrude inwards a little bit, and then I would have to, on everything but Z, on the Z axis. I'll probably do as whoa, as wide as I can, and then I would have to hit fill. I could try to fill it like this. It's actually different from the fill. I think the regular fill tool is also grid fill. I think grid fill works better. But fill is okay as well. Although I arguably would say grid fill looks nicer and probably will work better. Although it does create some complex geometry there, so I might not do that. Well, that'll be a fun process to deal with. Oh, I've run out of undo buffers. I have run out of undo buffers. Gonna have to revert. Alright, well, general concept does work, but it's gonna have to be applied very specifically. That's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting how that works. So we have the attachment piece. We have more or less, the bottom piece is more or less ready. The base. Now I gotta actually do something interesting. I'm gonna save real quick. What I'm gonna do is we need to use Solidify now. So what I'm thinking here, and this is where it gets complicated too. This is where it gets complicated. I think we'll want to apply the Solidify after. I think. Just due to the way this is going to work, and I'm going to have to probably manually clean a lot of this up. Okay, so I have an idea. I have some ideas here. What I'm going to do is experiment around how we're going to get this to work in the end. So first things first, we need to fill the top of this in, so I'm going to hit Edge. First, I guess we need to solidify this in some form. Although I don't think we have to for this one, so I just have to fill the very... I'm going to hide this reference. It's getting in my way. Gotta fill that in, so I'm just going to use face, and I'm just going to use fill. That fills that in nicely. We kind of want it to be more rigid. I will actually maybe need to smooth that out a little bit. I'm using like just simple stuff or something. I don't want to do that. Leave that alone. And now I have to get ready for this part as well. The first thing I'll do is apply, we're going to apply the surface. We have to do that ahead of time, unfortunately. Oof, that is going to be a little bit of a load on the computer. Oh, please don't crash. Oh, it's, my fans are going a little bit right now. I think that might be a little too high. Because I am a little stuck. Yeah, I'm a little stuck right now, so I think that might be an issue. Uh-oh. Can't see it on my end, but it's actually stuck. So I can't do anything. That might be too high quality for the computer to handle, which probably means the 3D printer would probably not be able to handle like so much geometry either. My CPU is just like having to do probably a bunch of calculations right now. Oh boy. I think it might be stuck. I may have to restart the program. Yeah, I think it's a crash. All right, this already has pretty high quality geometry, so I can't actually do that, or it's going to crash the program. So I think I got the right idea. I think I want to actually solidify like after the fact. So I'm going to want that as high as 2. Okay. Let's see how that looks after like 2 subdivisions. Okay. I don't know whether or not I want to do it before or after yet. The issue is there's some differences. I think it looks better before, but after, no, there might not be a difference actually. Oh, there's a little bit of a difference. The only issue with before is it doesn't flatten the bottom, although now it's doing some weird stuff. So yeah, I think Solidify does need to come first, because it actually is going to cause issues. I think I need to find a way, I guess, to fill that in some way. I've now applied it. And now I need to, I guess, get ready to apply this. The only issue is there are some things that really shouldn't be like there yet. Like this, I don't think that's supposed to be there, right? This is where this model gets very complex. Okay, I think that's not supposed to be there either. I don't know what's supposed to be here, what's not supposed to be here. Let me start cleaning some stuff up here. That's not really supposed to be there at all. Usually it's this right here. Okay. I'm going to have to do some manual filling here. I'm going to hide this for now. I'm also going to like hide the top part of this right here for just a moment. We're also going to hide this. We actually need to focus right now on just the bottom slot, so to speak. On the bottom slots. That needs to be our focus. So we need to like size this up so that this right here should be about the same size as the cap. I guess we'll start with the top here before moving on to the bottom section here. I think I'm going to have to do some pretty interesting stuff at the bottom. Make sure it's curved correctly. So that needs to be completely curved from the bottom. Oh, man, that water. All right, now what I got to do, I'm actually going to start by hiding this for now. I'm going to unhide the attachment piece, fill in the top like I did before. Yep. And this doesn't actually need a lot of, I will subdivide it, but it doesn't need it necessarily, I don't think. Actually, we'll subdivide this first, just so it has more geometry to it. That might help the fill process be a little bit better. Maybe. Let's do a grid. Let's try a grid fill. See if it's any better. I don't know if grid fill is any better. I don't know if I have to subdivide it, but I'm going to. Like once. Then I'm just going to fill this in with like just fill. We're going to have to apply the subdivision here. So before I do any of that stuff, I'm going to make, I guess I should make a backup real quick. Okay. Let me get to work. I made a backup of these files, and I still have a bunch of old backups too. I gotta hit apply. This is where things get a little crazy. A lot of geometry now. Now I gotta select this loop. I guess I gotta join these objects together now. It's not letting me select it. Oh, there we go. I was using the wrong key. Now I have to merge these together. Using the bridge edge loops. And I'll add an extra cut to make that a little smoother. And now these are officially merged together. Making this one unique little object here. So things get very complicated though. So now, you know what? Before I subdivide that, I actually made a little mistake. It's not gonna let me do it. I gotta revert. I need to real quick make sure that it's sized for the bottom piece as well. The bottom slot. That's the wrong one. I'm gonna hide a little bit on the top here, just so it's not like interfering. I'm going to wireframe real quick, actually. All right, and I would say that's about right. Now I need to make sure this isn't just on the bottom here. This isn't just flat. Rather, this should be more spherical and more rounded. I do this by lifting all of them upward, like that. And that makes it more round shape. Good. Okay. Okay. The last thing I'll do for now, because I got to get going soon, I have another stream coming up. I think I'm going to get the space ready now. It's pretty much ready to go. The only thing I have to do now is get all the pieces attached together and prepped. I'll start for now with the top piece. I'll scale that back a little bit. Actually, I'll leave it. Join these together. Whoops. Wait, okay, I have to apply the subdivision surface first on this mesh. Then I join them together. And then what I can do is this. I can bridge these together. Add an extra cut. And there we go. Good. Last but not least for now is the bottom piece. Now the bottom piece is an interesting case. I'm going to double check my measurements here real quick. But okay. I'm unfortunately not quite done with measurements yet, as I actually have to do one more little measurement here on the bottommost section. Also, that is not flat. I don't know what happened here. That is not flat. Like this whole bottom section here, that needs to be completely flat. Good. And now all I have to do is take this, I guess now. Selection first selected. And what I'm going to do is we have to make one final. Okay, I don't know what's happening here. There we go. One final measurement needs to be made. So I'm going to put I'm going to just create a new object. I'm going to just make a cube. Just make it 1 centimeter. 0.1 centimeters large. Actually, no. Let's make a circle again. Make it 1 centimeter. Make it like 0.1 centimeters. The vertices don't matter. I'm gonna make it low, just like a low vertex count or vertex count, just so that it doesn't lag my computer out for days. And what I'm gonna do is completely leveled. Hey, what's up, Bravo? Okay. Oh, is it? Let me see that. Oh, thank you. Give me a second. Okay, let's see if we can get that back up there now. There we go. Thank you. I hate when it does that. I gotta figure out why it does that. I have no idea why it does that, to be honest. Okay, where was it? What was I up to? That's right. Okay. So I think that's on the same... I believe it's on the same level. Here. So now what I gotta do... I'm just using this little object for measurements. So I'm gonna probably get rid of this after. I need to extrude this up by 0.4 centimeters. Exactly. It has to be exactly. And I can just delete this. And that is where it should be. Now I have to bring the selection to... I'm going to bring cursor to selected. And what I'm going to do with this object is bring that to the... Whoopsies. That's wrong. Now I just have to bring selection to cursor. And that'll bring this right up here. I can delete that object now. That's in the right spot for the analog stick. Now, the last and probably one of the more important steps here. First, I need to do what I did with the analog stick. I need to subdivide this ahead of time, just to do the way this works. Let's see, how does that look? With just a couple. I think we can actually get away maybe with one more, but I don't know if I want to do that much. Yeah, I think we could probably just get away with this. That looks pretty smooth. Now what I have to do, it's a little hard to work. I'm going to switch to wireframe. This is going to be very hard to work with otherwise. Now what I have to do is extrude this upward. Now the tricky thing is I have to actually get this aligned to a specific spot. Very hard to see what I'm doing right now because there's a lot of stuff. So what I'll have to do is maybe hide some of this. I think first thing I'm going to do, join these objects together. Okay. Now what I need to do, actually I'm going to undo that real quick. It's very hard to tell what I'm doing right now because it's kind of messy. There's a lot of stuff going on with this big old freaking object in the way. So I'm going to select this. I'm just going to hide a big chunk of that just so I can see the inner sphere. I'm getting some lag, dude. Now, I need to bring this exactly to this level right here. Getting a little lagged out because there's a lot of geometry going on. And there we go. What I just did is I used the 3D cursor, and then I used the scale, and I flattened it on Z. And what it basically did is it brought it to the same level of the 3D cursor. And now, last but not least, I guess I have to go. Oh man, I have to go all the way around and manually select all this stuff. But I only can select the stuff on the edges. If I do any more, it will not work. What I'm about to do, because I have to connect these. Okay. And that's it, I think. All I gotta do now is merge these together, loops together. Actually, first, I think I have to make a new loop. So I'm going to use edge loops. I don't know what it just did. I think it was wrong, whatever it was. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, I guess that counts. Okay. I think that's filled in. I think we're done. At least for this part, anyway. I think we're done with the base. Yeah, I would say we're done with the base. Also, this is a solid object. That might up the price a little bit for the 3D print. You can see, if you can barely see it, there's a slight difference between these two lines here. You can really see it when I zoom in. This is solid. This is a solid 0.1 centimeter fill, and the rest of this is completely solid. All this is solid filled. Everything between here is going to be completely solid, or it can be based on whatever fill you use for the 3D print. Like, you can have this 80% filled in, for example. It'll do its best. But all that is solid object. Actually, wait a minute. I think I might have to double check my work here. I think this is actually supposed to be... Ooh, you know what? Actually, I'm glad I kind of looked at that real quick, because this actually is not supposed to be here. Like, this... I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to delete all of this here on the top. That is actually not going to work. And the reason is because if that's going to be solid, this needs to go up. I don't know what to do now, actually. I think I might have to rethink this. Actually, I think I actually might. You know what? I probably didn't have to do any of that stuff. I think I had it okay. Alright, we are lagging a little bit here. I think I'm overthinking it. Okay. Actually, I think we do have to connect this. It looks like it isn't considering a lot of this a true edge loop. It doesn't do much, except for the fact that it takes so much longer to select all that now. I think it's just the way it was subdivided and stuff, and like the way it was processed, and the way the geometry works right now. I think I actually I have to do multiple fills here. That's what I'm thinking here. So we'll do edge, bridge, edge loops. Now it's supposed to be shaded like this. That might just be the way it is. Oh, fun. I have to reselect more stuff. Okay, so I guess I gotta get in here. And select all this. I'm going to have to fill this in. So I'll hit fill. And I don't know if I want to do beautify here this time. I might just hit fill and turn off beautify. I'm going to have to probably recalculate some normals here, as those look a little messed up. I'm going to double check some of my work. Looks about right. Yep. That looks about right. Well, I gotta get ready for next stream here, so I think that is a good conclusion for today. And here, I'm gonna shade this flat here for now. Here is the final result. At least for the base, anyway. There it is. We have a dome right here. We have the attachment piece up here. That's where the stick will go into. So that way you can swap out the top parts. That's also required for assembly. And we have our bottom component, including our round analog stick insert on the bottom here. And if we go into a wireframe view, we can see there's also a little bit more going on under the hood. This is prototype 1 right here. This is Mark 1. So I'll have to order it, and I'll have to, at some point, and see what happens. Hopefully, it'll work. I'll probably have to order just the base first, maybe, just to test it, but I'll see how that goes. In the meantime, thank you for watching the stream, and I will see you next time. Bye.